Hello and welcome to the next video in my pre-algebra review series. Today's video covers Chapter 7, Section 1, Solving Two-Step Equations. By the end of this video, you should have a better understanding of using properties to solve two-step equations and solving problems with two-step equations. Please leave a like if you find this video to be helpful. Give your classmates a heads up too. It will more than likely help them and certainly help this channel to be seen by more students. If you would like me to cover any of these topics in greater detail, please leave a comment in the comment section below. I read them and do my best to answer as time permits. Please subscribe to my channel and ring the bell icon to be notified every time I release a new video. Thank you. Okay, so let's talk about solving a two-step equation. To solve a two-step equation, first undo the addition and subtraction, and then undo the multiplication and division. So what we're talking about here is the fact that we need to separate the terms of the equation into the variables on one side and the numeric constants on the other. Both sides of the equal sign have been simplified, and the variable on the one side, x, y, a, b, etc., has a coefficient of 1x, or just plain x. The answer is found on the other side, something like x equals 4. So 4 would be the answer. The process is pretty straightforward. First, move the constant terms to one side of the equation, or the equal sign, perhaps to the right side, and the variable terms to the other side, in this case be the left-hand side, by using addition and or subtraction as required. Then simplify each side. Do the addition and subtraction to reduce it to one term on each side. Then multiply each term of the equation by the reciprocal of the variable term's coefficient. Well, what does that mean? So that is if 2n equals 10, multiplying by the reciprocal of the variable term's coefficient would result in multiplying both sides of the equation by 1/2. 1/2 is the reciprocal of 2, just like 2 is the reciprocal of 1/2. You just take the one number, either put it under or over the it's a divisor using the division sign. That's basically what it means here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 1/2 multiplied by 2n, because now we're solving this problem. We're moving the 2, and then to multiply the other side, 1/2 times 10, where 1/2 is the reciprocal of the variable term's coefficient of 2. Then simplify. 1n, that's 2 over 2, or 1n, is equal to 5. 10 divided by 2, or 1/2 of 10. 10 times 1/2. So more appropriately, we say just n equals 5, because if there's a coefficient of 1, the 1 is not shown. Okay, let's talk about undoing an operation. So they want us to solve 3n minus 6 equals 15. So we'll start here. 3n minus 6. In order to get rid of the 6 on this side, on the left side, because we want to get the variable terms on just one side, we're going to add a plus 6 to cancel out this negative 6. And then on the other side, we have a 15. We're going to add 6, just like we did on this side, because you have to add the same thing on both sides. And then that's going to simplify whatever this simplifies to. So when we do simplify it, we're going to find out that the 6's over here cancel each other out, and you end up with 3n equals 21, because 15 plus 6 is equal to 21. Okay, so now we've got 3n equals 21. Both sides are simplified in terms of addition and subtraction. Now we need to multiply and divide in order to clear the coefficient of the variable from the variable. So in order to do that, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal of the coefficient. The coefficient of the variable term is this 3 in this case. So 3 divided by 3 is equal to 1 is equal to 1. So what we have now is these disappear, and we have n, and 21 divided by 3 on this side. So 21 divided by 3 is 7, and 3 divided by 3 is 1. So 7's the answer. So n equals 7. So let's check it. Let's see if it worked correctly or not. So we started with 3n minus 6 equals 15. So we take the 3 and then and where the n was, we take and replace it with the answer, which is 7. So we put the 7 down here into the equation. So now we get 3 times 7 minus 6 equals 15. Well, does it? So let's simplify it here. So 21 minus 6 is equal to 15. Oh, 3 times 7 is 21. 21 minus 6 is 15. 15 equals 15. The check works. So that was the solution for that equation. So now let's check our understanding. We're going to start off by following the steps that we talked about before. We're going to get the terms together, so the constants will be on one side and the variable terms on the other. We're going to start off here with a, which is 15x plus 3 is equal to 48. And what we're going to do is we're going to write 15x plus 3, and we're going to also add in order to move this 3 to the other side, we have to add in the additive inverse, which is a minus 3, and that is equal to 48 minus 3. We have to do the minus 3's to both sides. So now the 3's will cancel, so we end up with 15x, the 3's canceled, equals 48 minus 3 is 45. So the x now, in order to get the x by itself, we have to get rid of the 15. In order to get rid of that, we have to multiply by the inverse of 15. And the inverse of 15 is 1 over 15 times 15x is equal to 45. Oh, and since we multiplied by 1 over 15 on the one side, we have to multiply by 1 over 15 on the other side. So when we multiply 1 over 15 by its reciprocal, these two cancel. 15 cancels, become 1. It becomes x, 1x as we've talked about. And that equals 45 times 1 over 15, which is 15 goes into 45 3 times. 15 goes into itself once. So the answer then is 3. X equals 3. Let's go here. T over 4. So now the coefficient is like a divisor, right? So now we're going to be dividing by the 4. So minus 10 is equal to minus 6. We have to clear up the constants and move the constants to the other side. So we have t over 4 minus 10 plus 10, because we have to add the additive inverse to both sides, is equal to minus 6 plus 10. We have to add the same thing on both sides to keep the equations equal. They have to be always equal on both sides. So then we end up with t over 4, the 10's cancel, equals 6 plus 10, or minus 6 plus 10 is equal to 4. We need to get rid of this division by 4 here. So to do that, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal of 1 over 4, which is 4. So we're going to multiply 4 times t over 4 is equal to 4 times 4. You have to multiply both sides by 4. And these two 4's cancel, and we end up with t equals 4 times 4 equals 16. Let's go to this one here. B over 3, kind of the same as our problem B we just did. So we have B over 3 plus 13, and then we have to get rid of the 13 minus 13. We have to add the reciprocal, the additive inverse. 13 minus 13 is equal to 11 minus 13. We have to, whatever we add to one side, we have to add to the other. So we're left with b over 3 equals 11 minus 13 minus 2. So now we have to multiply by the reciprocal of 1 over 3 to get rid of the 3 in the denominator of this, of our variable term. So now we're going to say 3, which is the reciprocal of 1 over 3, times 1 over 3b equals minus 2 times 3, because we have to multiply both sides by the same thing. So if we do that, we're going to find out that the 3's cancel. These cancel, and we're left with b is equal to minus 2 times 3 is minus 6. So now let's do d 9g plus 11 equals 2. So we get rid of the 11 on this side and move it over to the other side. So 9g plus 11 minus 11 is equal to 2 minus 11. 9g, these 11's cancel, equals 2 minus 11 is equal to minus 9. We have to get rid of the 9 with the g because we have to have just the g by itself. 1g, not 9 g's. So in order to do that, we're going to multiply both sides by 9g times 1 over 9 is equal to minus 9 times 1 over 9. And this 9 will cancel with that 9, and we're left with g is equal to minus 9 divided by 9, which is equal to minus 1. Negative coefficients. So when you have a negative with the variable term, I think that's what we're going to be looking at here. So they want us to solve 5 minus x, now you see the minus sign, equals 17. Same thing, little different thinking, but basically the same. So we're going to start off with 5 minus x equals 17. And then we're going to clear out the 5 because we want to get all the constant terms to one side and the variable terms to the other, just like before. So we need to get this 5 over here on this side. In order to get the 5 over here, we have to add the additive inverse, which is negative 5, to both sides. That's going to remove the 5 on this side and place its equivalent on the other side. So when we do that, we're left with the 5's cancel, these two 5's cancel, and we're left with minus x equals 12, because 17 minus 5 is 12. So now we have the minus x. Well, minus x really means negative 1 times x. Anytime you have a negative sign like this, it always implies negative 1. So this is something to multiply the x by. So over here we have negative x. So we're going to multiply by the the multiplicative inverse of negative 1, which is 1, or negative of 1 over 1, right? So in essence, it's going to be multiplying. I'll draw it out over on the side or down here below. It's going to be negative 1 x times 1 over negative 1. Okay? And that is going to get rid of the negative 1 on this side. And in order to do that, you're going to have to take the 12 on this side, and you're going to multiply it by the 1 over negative 1. It's basically what you're doing. And then when you see this, you see the negative 1's cancel. 2 negatives make a positive. So now you have a positive x remaining. If you divided by, in this case, if you'd use the 1 over 1, not the negative 1, then you would have had a negative x still. But we want a positive 1x. And that equals 12 times 1 over negative 1, or 12 divided by negative 1, which is negative 12. So here the answer is x equals negative 12. Now check our understanding doing some of this negative values here. So we start off with negative a plus 6 equals 8. So now we want to get rid of the 6, move it over to the other side. So we're going to have negative a plus 6 minus 6 is equal to 8 minus 6. Whatever we do to one side, we have to do it to the other side. So that action now cancels these 6's for us. So we're left with negative a is equal to negative 8 minus 6 is 2. So we have a, we have to multiply both by something to get rid of this negative 1. Well, we're going to multiply by, or divide in this case, the reciprocal of negative 1, which is 1 over. So it's you have negative a times 1 over negative 1 is equal to 2 times 1 over negative 1. That would leave us, these cancels out the negative 1 over here, leaving us with an a. A equals 2 divided by a negative 1 is negative 2. Let's go do this one. Minus 9 minus y over 7 equals negative 12. So we're going to move the 9. So in order to do that, we're going to add 9 to each side. So plus 9 to the minus 9 minus y over 7 is equal to minus 12. And we added 9 to each side, plus 9. So these cancel, and we're going to end up with minus y over 7 equals minus 12 plus 9 is minus 3. So if we take the 7, this is the reciprocal of this 1/7 is 1/7. So we're going to multiply both sides by the negative 1/7. We're going to get rid of the negative sign and the divided by 7 all at the same time. So we're going to multiply negative 7 times negative y over 7. So these 7's will end up canceling each other, and these negatives will cancel each other. So then we'll end up with minus 3 times minus 7. So if we carry this out, this cancels out this. Y is equal to 21. And over here for C, we have 13 minus 6f equals 31. So we need to get rid of the 13. So we're going to subtract 13 from both sides. So it's minus 13 plus 13 minus 6f is equal to 31 minus 13. Minus 13, minus 13, and that equals minus 6f equals 31 minus 13 is 21 minus 3 is going to be 18. So we have 18. And f then, to get rid of the 6, we're going to have to add the multiplicative inverse, or the multiply by the multiplicative inverse. So we have minus 6f times 1 over minus 6. And we did the minus here too because we want to get rid of it all at one time. We'll get rid of the negative sign and the 6 all at once. So that equals 18 times 1 over negative 6 times 1 over negative 6. And what does that equal to? That equals to f equals 18 divided by, or multiplied by 1/6 minus 1/6 will give you minus 3. Solving problems using two-step equations. To use two-step equations to solve real-world problems, remember these steps. First, move the constant terms to one side. of the equal sign and the variable terms to the other side using addition or subtraction, and simplify as required. And we've been doing that. Mostly we've been adding the constants together or subtracting, whatever. Then you multiply each term of the equation, that's both sides of the equation, by the reciprocal of the variable terms coefficient. If the variable terms coefficient is 6, like say 6x, you would multiply by 1 over 6 times 6x. That way the 6's cancel. You have a 6 above and a 6 below. They cancel each other out. Okay, so I can write that out. If you had a 6x, you're going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal, which would be 1 over 6 times the 6x, and then this 6 and that 6 cancel each other out, because that's the same as writing 6 over 6 times x, and then you can see that they cancel out that way. So that's what we're trying to do, okay? And whatever you do to one side, you have to do it to the other side. Real world problem. Travel planning. Here we go. Lynn wants to save $900 to go to Puerto Rico. She saves $45 each week, and now she has $180. So there's an equation that'll solve this. We're going to find out what it takes to get $900. So the equation is how many weeks does she have to save, and we're going to call the weeks W, will it take her to save $900? So he's solving the equation. 180, that's what she has to start with, plus $45 every week. So every week she's going to add $45 to this amount that she has. And when she gets to 900, when it equals 900, she's saved enough money. So we're going to write it out. We have 180 right here, 180 plus, that's what she has, plus $45 a week. And when you get those two equal 900, we're done. So she needs to solve this using a two-step solution. So she has 180. She's going to subtract 180 right here from both sides. She has to subtract from both sides. And then she'll simplify this. So the 180s cancel each other out, and she's left with 45W. W is for weeks. Okay. And that is, we've subtracted 180 from both sides, so 900 minus 180 is 720. So she has to work enough weeks for her $45 a week to equal $720. So in order to solve this, we need to know what W is. How many weeks will it take? Well, we're going to multiply by the multiplicative inverse of 45. Multiplicative inverse of 45 is 1 over 45. And we have to do it on both sides. So when we do that, the 45s cancel. This 45 cancels that 45, and it ends up being W. And 723 divided times 1 over 45, or divided by 45, happens to be 16. So it will take Lynn 16 more weeks to finally have arrived at her $900 to go to Puerto Rico. Let's solve another one. Jacob bought 4 begonias in 6-inch pots and a $19 fern at a fundraiser. He spent a total of $63. Solve the equation 4p plus 19 equals 63. Well, 4p, the p I guess is going to stand for begonias. It could have been 4 pots, whatever. So he's buying 4 begonias plus $19, and he spent a total of 63. So we write out the equation 4p plus 19 equals 63, and then 4p plus 19 minus 19, because we have to get the 19 to the other side of the equation, is equal to 63 minus 19. You have to do the same thing on both sides. You have to do minus 19 here, you have to do minus 19 on this side. So now you're left with, these cancel each other out, the 19s cancel each other out, and you're left with 4p is equal to 44. 63 minus 19 is 44. Well, now we have to get rid of the 4 because we need the p by itself. We need its coefficient to be 1. In order to make the coefficient of p 1, we have to multiply by the multiplicative inverse of the coefficient, which is 1 over 4, so that the 4's cancel. You have a 4 on the top and a 4 on the bottom, they cancel. And what's left then is p. And you do, if you multiply by 1/4 on this side, you have to multiply by 1/4 on the other side. And when you do that, 44 goes in, is divisible by 4 11 times, and 4 divisible by 4 1 time. So the answer is P equals 11. So Jacob spent $11 on each begonia.